Hello, everyone. It is day 50. Wow. Of 365 days of my raw suspending disbelief journey. Whew. It is also June 11th. Yes, I'm correct about that. It is June 11th, 2024. Holy crap. What a day. Uh, a day, what a day mostly in a really good sense. So, I had a lot of stuff on the calendar for today for business. And not like the, okay, not that it's not productive. I just realized I'm very like choppy talking right now. So, whew, the energy's been a lot. Okay. So I had a lot of things, a lot of calls, a lot of being on screen with a lot of people today. Which for me is very much more draining than the quiet life with my kids. Kind of, not that it's ever quiet, but the quiet life with my kids. So I, um, it was good though. It was all really good. I got a ton of insight today. I was on a masterclass type call. It was actually 5 hours. I posted about it being 4 hours. It was 5 hours, you guys. It was a very long call. Also good energy though. Like it wasn't, anything crappy. And I did get some insights out of it, which was like my whole thing in going. I was like, hey, I have stopped going to master classes because I'm like, this is, I've, in a non-jaded way, I've seen it all, heard it all, done it all. Like I have, and of course I know that there's more to be done, seen and heard and whatever by me in my lifetime. But as far as online business in this moment goes, I felt like I needed to step away from that for a long time. Because I've just done so many of them. I know the stuff, right? I teach the stuff. So I'm like, I don't need to be at these. And the last several that I had attended, it was mostly to support the person I was attending their master class, right? It was less so for my own benefit, um, which is not really the energy that I actually want to be in. I do want to be supportive of people, especially people who I love and respect and all of that stuff. But I don't want to be showing up anymore in the energy of I'm just here to support somebody and I'm not actually there's not an equal energy exchange, right? So, because I'm not getting anything back out of it. And that is not to be greedy. That my time is precious and I need to stop just throwing it at everybody else and letting them have it, right? Um, so that's an old mindset shift. Anyways, I was finally on one again today and it ended up being like a very long one. I joined the VIP for it, all of that. And I was I even said going into it, like my hope for this is that there's going to be something new that I haven't heard before. And there was. And I love that. I love hearing something new. I love learning something new. I love gaining new perspective and new mindset shifts and all of that. And I actually um, ended up kind of like just on the spot. It was like, that's what's missing. And it, like, I was super, super ramped up for my Wild Feminine Leaders Inner Circle before. And now I'm like, holy shit, it's on fire. Like, I am just, wow. So, I, I have shared a little bit in my Heartbeats Harbor group about some of the shifts that came through today. Um, They're pretty new, so for me to just kind of talk about them right now, I will be very rambly. So I'm gonna not. But I'm super excited about them. Um, and I am, yeah, I'm glad that I went, although it was a very long chunk out of my day, especially with young kids at home, right? That was a little bit difficult. I had not even just my youngest Casey at home with me today, but I also had Jace. He has sort of a persistent, like an ongoing, forever now cough. that we have not been able to figure out. And he was up most of last night. We ended up sleeping in a little bit this morning, and my oldest, was late for school. I kept him home because he was just up so much last night. He was coughing so much and kept having to get up and go to the washroom and get drinks of water and all of these things because he was coughing. So, um, kept him home today because he was exhausted. And because I had so much on my calendar for today, I was like, I can't even do the doctor today. And I honestly, at this point, I'm like, I don't, I almost don't even see the point of going to a doctor. Our family doctor, for any of you who remember, it was like way closer to the beginning of this whole suspending disbelief challenge, um, where I had had like a psychic moment of thinking like my doctor's going to retire before I ever get to see her again. And then that same day I got the letter in the mail saying she retired. And that she had actually tried to find us a new doctor. So it was my doctor and my kid's doctor, our family doctor. And she had tried to find all of her patients a new doctor to take on her client load, and there just weren't any. There's none right now. So it was like, we don't even have a doctor, right? So I'm like, and the last several times that I've tried, walk-in clinics have been insane because there's no family doctors available, right? So everybody's just going there. And the problem with that is that when we go to these walk-in clinics, they just want to hand out antibiotics. They're like, oh, this cough sounds terrible. Here's some antibiotics. And it's like, no, we've been on antibiotics multiple times. This is the same cough. It hasn't stopped, right? And our family doctor was actually keeping track of it for how many times he, was tested for strep throat and like all of these kinds of things. And she was thinking it was asthma, but he was too young to diagnose before. And it was just like so many things. And now I'm like, I don't know if all that history is lost or if we're able to transfer that to a new doctor, if we ever can find a new family doctor. But a walk-in clinic doesn't take on that kind of a challenge of like, let's actually figure out what the problem is here, right? It's really hard to have that happen at a walk-in clinic. So anyways, needless to say, that's all really frustrating when it comes to like, I feel awful for my son. He's got this horrible cough and just needs to have some sort of a solution. And I've been told by different doctors, that persistent coughs can have to do with allergies, but then nobody will send us for allergy testing. And we're just kind of like hitting roadblocks all over the place, right? Or we have been. And I will say that the last time I have tried was before this suspending disbelief challenge. So I am going to look at this from this lens of I'm going to suspend disbelief that we can find a doctor who will help us. Um, However, today was not the day for that because I just had so much else going on, and it wasn't something that I'm not a replay person unless it's short. Like I very, very rarely will catch something on the replay if it's long. So a 5-hour replay just never in a million years would have happened. So I'm really glad that I attended it live, that I didn't just decide to wait for the replay, because I probably would not have caught the one thing that was like really, an aha moment for me as far as, um, high ticket selling goes. Okay. So this was kind of like the shift that I was leaning into today was the higher ticket selling. I've done fairly high ticket before, but nothing as high as what I'm doing right now. And I would even love, of course, to expand into higher ticket beyond that eventually. So that's why I decided I wanted to attend this masterclass. I have attended ones before that just were like, yeah, that's what I'm doing and that's not working for me. So I went into it, with a little bit of like a taking things with a grain of salt attitude, but also mostly just like, no, I'm going to suspend disbelief. There might be something in here that's new for me. That's what I'm hoping for this masterclass. And there was, and it was a fantastic thing. So super, super glad that I attended. Um, well worth my 5 hours kind of thing. Right. So, um, however, that meant that I was on that call for 5 hours. I had another call scheduled immediately after, which was like, oh my gosh. And then thankfully the person that I had that call with messaged me and was like, maybe he's being kind of like difficult today. Can we reschedule for another day? And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Yes. Yes, please. Let's reschedule because this is just too much for one day. Um, so after I got off that 5 hour masterclass, I was able to get my daughter down for a nap and give my son a little bit of attention and eat. I hadn't eaten in like forever because I'm in a very like hyper focused type of energy week, and I forget to eat when I do that, right? So I inhaled a ton of food outside with my feet in the grass to just get some grounding in after being on the screen that much and clear my energy a bit. And um, take my son outside so that he could get off the screens and, all of that. So we, you know, it still kind of brought balance to the day. I was planning on just ordering food because I was like, I am not cooking on a day like this when there's so much going on. But then my daughter wanted to make fried rice. So I was like, cool, go for it. Make some fried rice. And, it was just sort of like all of these things that were synchronistic. And despite it not being like my ideal day, I don't love being on a call for 5 hours, right? Despite that, and despite the fact that my son was home, so there was an extra kid, extra noise, extra distractions, all of that, it ended like it was smooth, right? It was not bad. Um, whereas a day like this before probably would have been really, really a struggle, where the kids would have been just like, 5 hours, like there's no freaking way, right, that my kids are going to give me 5 hours where I can actually pay attention to something like that. And like even with video games, even with screens, even with shows, like nothing would have kept them occupied that long. And they did really, really well today. So, they had their like a few moments that they came in, but they were really good in that sense. And in a way, it kind of worked out that my son was home so that my daughter wasn't on her own, and on, right? So everything kind of in its own way worked out today and was smooth and was okay, even though it wasn't ideal. So it was, it was a success in and of itself. Like today was good. Nothing was terrible. There were, a few meltdowns because there was too much screen time. And that to me is like completely reasonable and acceptable almost because they just, it's not on them that they had to be on screens for so long. And even though that's what they want all the time, it's not what I normally give. And so their bodies are like, no, I don't like this, right? And they have these tantrums. And I just have to just hold space for that because it's like, yeah, I get it. Like you guys have not had my attention, right? So yeah, just my energy held out through it. I was able to hold the space for them to have their tantrums when those happened. I was able to um, glean what I needed from that masterclass, just all the things. It was great. And then I got that clarity and I expanded on my offer and that felt amazing. So I also went live in my Facebook group in the evening, which normally I'm like, I will either do lives at nap time when my little one is sleeping and there's no one else around, so it's quiet and no distractions, or I will do it like after bedtime, um, like once the kids are all in bed, so that again I don't have the distractions and whatnot. And um, it was just like I just really not needed like I have to, but I really um felt called to go live and do this live. So I did that. I put on my power paint and went live. The energy felt amazing. And again, the energy has been super, super intense the last couple of days. So it was just like, ah, right? And just this energy that needed to come out of me in a live. So I did that. There was a massive thunderstorm at the same time. So there was like thunder cracking while I was live. I was like, geez. And it was good. And I'm going to bed a little bit early tonight because there was no sleep had last night. So, um, really feeling like, all the things that could have happened today. Everything that could have gotten done got done. I have a pile of laundry to fold. I have, things I would have loved to get done today in my business, but nothing that is like urgent, nothing that feels like it's the end of the world. And I'm really loving the feeling of everything is always working out and I'm always exactly where I need to be. My success is here and nothing is ever like awful and terrible and my life isn't falling apart, right? It's a great feeling to consistently be in, and very contrasting to the last couple of years for me. So, um, yeah, I'm super grateful for that. I am loving it. I am, and also it's not a fluke, right? And just being so aware of that I've been choosing to feel this way so that I'm creating this. And I've been suspending disbelief that things can always be this smooth, and that even with things that come up and hiccups that happen and, you know, harder things like a 5-hour masterclass with two kids under 10, right? Like my son just turned 7, so like he's the oldest of the two. It was still smooth, and it was still, my energy was still maintained throughout it, and I was able to hold what I needed to hold, right? So just celebrating that shift. It is an incredible shift, even if it doesn't sound huge. It is huge for me. It's massive. Um, and then on top of that, having, I'm a little bit wary about this one. My oldest dad is going to come and stay with us for a little while. Um, this one, we've got some boundaries to set in place before that happens. But hoping that it will end up being a good thing for him in the long run, as he's getting on his feet again and all of these things. So um, that one feels a bit stretchy for me, but I'm also like, I am super grateful that I have a house of my own, that I can allow somebody to come and stay with us if I need to, that I can offer a bed, that we have the space, that, all of these things. And, just being able to see everything through that lens instead of like feeling like I have to say yes, have to take him on, like it's a big burden, like it's, anything like that. It's not like that. And, um, it is, it is stretchy because of everything that has been going on with him lately, that the things that have been coming up for him, I am concerned, but I am also saying, okay, we're going to sit down, we're going to set up these boundaries first, and it is going to stay this way. And, um, just being like, okay, that's the safe. I'm putting up the safeguards. I'm holding my boundaries. I'm able to say yes, and I can hold space for you. I can have you in my home, but I'm also able to say, you're not just going to come here and like trample all over us. This is going to be the boundaries that are going to be in place. And not to say that he wouldn't trample all over us, but just there's been a marked shift in my mentality of like, I don't just have to carry everyone. I don't just have to put up with everyone's bullshit. I don't have to just do things just because somebody asks, or, whatever. I get to think through it and be like, okay, yes, but with my conditions in place, or just no, or, whatever the case may be. So all around, um, just celebrating the empowerment, um, the flow of all of it, and it not being like, there's so much still that's coming up in my days that in the past would have been very confronting, very frustrating, very overwhelming, all of these things, and would have absolutely, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, would have thrown me off of my path, my momentum that I'm on right now, that I like this upward climb, energetically and financially, that I am on right now. And I'm so grateful to still be maintaining that despite everything else that has come up over the last 50 days. Again, just wow, 50 days. Unbelievable. So I am happy, super excited. It's going to be a little bit of an arrangement to try to figure out how I'm going to do these episodes every night. I'm going to have to take into consideration um, how this will work because my oldest will probably share my bed with me throughout the time that her dad is here, at least most of the time. So I will be, yeah, I'll have to be coming up with a different arrangement and also have those boundaries in place of like he needs to be quiet during certain points or, things like that. So things are just going to be shifting a little bit. It's going to be more of like, okay, I just rearranged my whole schedule and figured out what it's going to look like. And now we have something else thrown into the mix. And this seems to be the way that things go. But trusting and allowing and just knowing that my success is here. And so I'm able to handle all of it. And, absolutely suspending disbelief that I am trustworthy to handle everything that's thrown my way and to create the experiences that I want to have. And this is my time. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to rise. I'm ready to receive, right? It's my time. I'm ready. I'm ready to rise. I'm ready to receive. And I'm repeating it. I'm reminding myself I have these things. You guys, like, for anyone who wonders how I just keep on spouting these things off when I say them, they are all over the place for me. I have them like in my face. I've got them written on my mirror. I've got them, like whatever, because I stumble over things like that. I'm terrible at quoting things actually. So I have them like they're in my face. They're right in front of me so that I can be like, this is what I'm supposed to say. And even then I still a lot of the time will change up the wording as I'm doing it, but I have it, pardon me, to fall back on. I'm getting very much like a tickle in my throat at this point because I've talked so much today. So anyway, uh, yep. Overall, just still on my upward track. My momentum is still going. Everything is good despite not always necessarily being easy, right? Was not an easy day, but it was a smooth day, and I'm glad for that, and I'm really grateful for that. So I am going to end that here, and thank you all for listening. And holy crap, 50 days, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow.